Hello, my dear church boys, and welcome back to St. Robert's Daygame Pickup Podcast. In this week's episode, I'll talk about sexual market value. What are the components, or rather groups of components, that determine your value in the sexual marketplace? What are the things that girls look at, and what are maybe some things that guys think girls look at, things that guys think that are important and they should work? And maybe actually they shouldn't. And what are also some of the things that the dating industry and the day game industry say that, oh, that's not that important, you should only focus on these three skills? Well, there are some skills that I think are more important than the dating industry would like to acknowledge. These components of sexual market value will be divided in three groups. There will be things like first group will be Mother Nature, things that are given to you when you're born or things that happen to you over life. So this is just things that have happened, things that you have, like how tall you are, your looks, etc., etc. Then the second part will be lifestyle. We'll go more in depth about lifestyle things like money, status, and the third group will be things you can learn or game, as we like to call it in the industry. But before we get started, let's talk about a few housekeeping items on the things that have happened, etc. First of all, you know that I'm recording this podcast once every week, maybe once every 2 weeks, depending on how busy I am with my Skype and in-field coaching schedule. So if I ever have anything more that I want to share with my audience, maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's some idea, maybe it's some travel plans or anything else, I usually either send it to my mailing list or I post it in our Daygame Church group chat on Telegram application. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on different things, like maybe meetups in some city or some travel plans that are coming up and you want to join and you miss them, or maybe I have some interesting interviews coming up and I offer ask guys, hey, what do you want me to ask the guest? So if you don't want to miss all of those things, make sure you are subscribed to my mailing list and make sure you are in our Daygame Church Telegram group chat. And you can join both of those things by going to my website, strobert.blog, that is strobert.blog, and filling out the form on my website. And in the welcome email, when you join the mailing list, in the welcome email, you will also receive an invitation link to join our Daygame Church group chat. Also, I want to talk a little bit about travel updates because I had a trip planned to Poland, which didn't happen. I went to UK instead because of COVID restrictions in Poland. I had a trip announced for Kiev, and I had several guys apply for coaching in Kiev. Kiev trip is on the pause right now because it's pretty unclear what's going to happen with restrictions in Kiev. Instead, I am going to coach a student to south of France this Sunday, so in a little bit less than a week. And on about Kiev, I will wait for a week or two to see what happens in Kiev, and then decide whether I'm going there for day game or not. Because in Kiev, the government was talking about introducing pretty strict restrictions, and I don't really want to go to a place that is so strict. That being said, there are still plenty of places in Europe you can do for day game. You can go for day game, places that are open, places where I will go to coach a student. As I said, I am going to a smaller city in south of France to coach a student in a few days. And if it's a good city, I have other guys interested in going to that city, so maybe someone else will join and we'll bet day game there a bit, but I have no idea what's going to happen after France so far. All that I know that if Kiev opens up, I'm going to Kiev. If not, I'll most likely go to Croatia, to Zagreb, because I have a boot camp scheduled in Zagreb in December, because Zagreb is very known for its Christmas markets. A lot of people travel there for Christmas markets. So I think December is a great time to go to Zagreb and enjoy those groups of tourists, all the tourists that go there and work on your day game skills. And after Zagreb, we'll see. I had a trip planned for Prague, but Prague just entered the lockdown. So I'll announce my future travel plans and where I will go for coaching and just for day game in the future podcasts and emails. But honestly, what we're doing with students that apply for infield coaching right now, it's really simple. They just apply, they say which dates they want to do, and when the dates are closer, we usually just figure out a city we'll go to. Maybe it's Kiev, maybe it's London, maybe it's somewhere else. So if you want to do that, just let me know. Send me an email and we'll talk about dates, we'll talk about possible cities, and if the city doesn't work, we'll simply go to another city, something that we've done with plenty of students this autumn. And also, more and more guys, especially from places where it's harder to travel, they choose to do Skype coaching sessions. And it's actually really simple. You just send me a few recordings of your day game sets. I'll listen to them and I'll usually pretty fast understand what's wrong in your sets. Maybe your stacking is bad, maybe your voice is bad, a few other things. We hop on a call, I tell you what exactly you should focus on for the next 100 sets. You go back out, you put in the volume. So if you're someone who can do the sets on your own and you can put in the necessary work, then another option instead of infield coaching is simply signing up for some Skype coaching calls. I've been doing that with guys from LA, I'm doing that with guys from Canada, from France, and different places all around the world. And lastly, if you really like this podcast, if you like the content I'm putting out, but you don't really think you're ready for infield coaching, or you don't think you're ready for Skype coaching, or that's not what you need right now, but if you still want to support this podcast, you can do so on the Patreon, where you can simply choose an amount you want to support me monthly with my travels and other adventures I go on. It can be either 3, 5, or 10 euro if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to do that, there is a link in description, and you can go there and see what additional bonuses you get if you choose to do that. Well, that's it for the housekeeping items, and let's start talk about some more interesting things. For example, adventure I had a lot in London. I like to tell nice stories if something interesting happens. I was in London to coach a student, and London turns out to be a great city for day game. And I was walking with my student one day. Student was really tired, and he said he doesn't want to do any more sets. And I just took a mic, I gave him the earpiece, and I said, well, dude, I'll go do some sets and listen to them. Don't take them very seriously, because I won't do them as if I was coaching you. I'll do them in a way that I day game for myself. So the sets are a little bit different. There is a bit more freestyling, a bit more improvisation, a bit more fun, a bit more filthy topics in those conversations. And we're walking home to our Airbnb, and I see this beautiful, tall girl, definitely not from UK, maybe from an Arab country, very beautiful, all in black, but with a pink hoodie under her jacket. Maybe gave me a slight IOI, I wasn't sure, but she was very nice. And well, I had to do it. I went in, I opened, I ran a very interesting set, which I, by the way, have recorded, and I might publish it on the Patreon for my Patreon supporters. If you want to hear that info, it will probably be uploaded to my Patreon channel. And as I walk out of the set, as I come out of the set, my student who just listened to the set says, oh my god, that's an incredible set, I'm really sure you will sleep with her. And if you're an experienced day gamer, you know that thinking that you'll meet someone after the set is not the best thing to do, because sometimes you build up those expectations and then it oftentimes doesn't go anywhere, and sometimes you feel like shit about that. Oh, I did such a good set, but it didn't go anywhere. What the fuck do I do now? Well, but I texted her. She responded pretty okay, but she didn't come out on a date, and I had to go to Cambridge. I was going to Cambridge to coach a blind student there in a small city of 100,000 people. And before I'm coming back from Cambridge to London, because I had one day to spend in London before I go to Malta to enjoy some sun and just chill out with Mario. I'm staying at Mario's place, sleeping on his lovely white couch. and we're just having a great kind of vacation. So before going back to London from Cambridge, I sent all my London leads a text saying that I'll be in London for one night, and if they want to grab some beers, so we can do that. And this chick doesn't respond the same day, but she responds on a day when I'm already in London. She responds really well. We set up a date for 5:30. We meet next to a tube station right next to my hotel, where I have a tiny, tiny hotel room, smallest hotel room I've ever stayed in. And we go for some beers. Now, obviously, with the lockdown being on and London being pretty strict about the restrictions, it was quite a hustle to find a place where they would let us in, where they would have seating. But once we do that, we go to venue one, we're sitting down, we're drinking a beer, and as soon as I say something, I don't remember what it was, but it was something she really liked, and she fist bumps me. So she actually starts doing some physical things herself. She's doing what I call socially acceptable physical escalation. If you have watched my free video courses on dating on daygamecourses.com. And it seems to be really on. She's wearing a really short skirt and looking just stunning, very beautiful. And the banter is really good. All the dates going really good. But I think we should stay. We should have one more drink. It's too soon to pull. But instead of going to another venue, since we were already sitting next to each other on a sofa, and since COVID restrictions are so strict, and it might be really hard to find another venue that has sofas available. Even though I did my research, I found several options. I wasn't sure that they wouldn't be too busy. We decided to stay in the same venue for one more beer. She's responding really great to all my escalation. We're talking about adventures, we're talking about traveling, about drugs, all the crazy things. A little bit about sex, but not in a direct way, because you know that the rule that I have is if you think you can start talking about sex, you shouldn't. You should start moving towards sex. So when you think you can start talking about sex, you should start physically moving towards sex. So as we're chatting and everything's going perfect, I suggest that we should roll some rolling tobacco and chill out a bit. So, and she totally agrees. She instantly agrees with that, and we finish our beers and we head over to my hotel room, which is fucking tiny. It looks like a hotel room in a ship could look like that. Still very cute, very nice. We go there, we roll cigarette, we smoke it, and we're just chilling out, listening to music. And at one point, she just asks me, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And I just say, "Looking at you like what?" "You know, you have those eyes, you're looking at me like that, and oh my God, I'm not that kind of a girl. This is so fast. I'm a nice girl. I have a boyfriend back home." Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. She has a boyfriend in Dubai. She's from Dubai originally, in London for a little bit. And she says, I don't do this. I don't go to hotel rooms with strange guys." But I had a feeling she's not really saying that to me. She's just saying it to herself and making sure I don't think she's slutty. I'm still thinking she's a nice girl, which she was. She was very fragile, very feminine, very beautiful. Exactly the type of girl I like. And we continued smoking and listening to music and having fun and had nice sex in the end. So that's how London trip ended. A London trip definitely blessed me with a lay with a beautiful girl from Dubai. I finally have a precious flag because I never had slept with a girl from Emirates. I think it's a precious flag to have, especially if she has a boyfriend back there. Okay, so the story time is over. All the housekeeping items have been covered. Let's talk about sexual market value. Let's talk about what you can do to improve your sexual market value and learn to seduce young, beautiful, sexy, feminine girls even better. So sexual market value on and understanding sexual market value, in my opinion, isn't just about looking at things that might get you laid or things that might work. It's about learning how the world actually works and what you should do to get what you want in your life, not how you would like the world to work. There are a lot of people that have illusions about how the world works. What I like to focus on, I like to observe what works, what gets me better success with girls, what gets my students, what gets my friends and wings better success with women. And that's what understanding sexual market value actually means. It's not about some weird theories that, oh yeah, you should act like this because that makes you alpha and that's amazing. You should never do this, or yeah, you're projecting low value when you do this. There's a lot of nonsense going on in the online community when guys talk about game, and it especially comes from guys that are doing less than 25 sets a week. If you're doing less than 25 sets a week, are you a real day gamer? Well, maybe you are up and coming day gamer. Maybe you'll be a real day gamer one day. But basically, you're just doubling around in day gamer, just dipping your toe in the water. You will really start to feel what day game is all about when you learn to do enough sets, when you learn to do at least 25 sets in a week, and that's when you'll start to see what actually works and what you should focus on when you're day gaming. And also it's important to understand that some of the things you'll talk about you can change and control, while other things you can't. You can change a lot of things that Mother Nature has given you. Like, you are as tall as you are, and there isn't much you can do about it. Maybe Michael Jordan has some secrets, but I don't know. You should ask him and figure it out. And of course, there are some things that come from the environment you grew up in. Maybe you were this guy who grew up in a family where you learn to be expressive, you learn to talk to people, you learn to speak up, you learn responsibility in life, and that's what actually helps you get laid. So it's important to understand that there are several things that affect the way you behave. And as I said before, we'll talk about three groups of parameters that the sexual market value consists of. We'll talk about Mother Nature, which is things that you are born with or things that have happened to you. We'll talk about lifestyle, which is something you can build, something you can control, something a lot of guys think is important. And we'll talk about things you can learn, and things you can learn are the things that people in the dating industry or the dating coaches say that those are the most important things. You should only focus on them, and everything else is not important. Everything else is mental masturbation, is bullshit. Well, we'll talk a bit about that, and in the end, we will of course talk about what exactly should you focus on. Should you focus on your looks? Should you focus on your lifestyle? Should you focus on your game? And also, depending on which phase of your evolution as a day gamer and as a man you are at, it changes what you should focus on. So we'll talk about that in the end. And let's start with with a group of things that I call Mother Nature. So Mother Nature consists of things you were born with. For example, how tall you are, your looks, also your age, because well, you were born when you were born. There is not much you can do about that. And a part of Mother Nature, in my opinion, is also things that have happened in your life. For example, your experience with girls so far. That is something that has happened in your life up to now. It's not really something you can control in the past, but it's something you can change in the future. Those are the givens. And also a big part of things that have happened to you in life, well, maybe something has happened in your life that has drastically changed your life. For example, I was in Cambridge, UK, and I was coaching a blind guy. So that's something that it's part of Mother Nature. It's something that has happened to you, as they say in those TikTok videos. It is what it is. There isn't much you can do about it, but it's still a part of sexual market value. Saying that it's not important how tall you are, what your looks are, and other things. Saying that it's not important is definitely a lie. I totally don't agree with that. It is very, very important how you look. It's not maybe the biggest component, but it's still important. So, uh, as I said, four things in Mother Nature is your looks, your height, your age, and I would also put experience with girls so far in your life. The most important thing you have to understand about this group of parameters, Mother Nature, is it's not about what Mother Nature has given you. It's about what you do with it. And what do? You ignore the things you cannot fix, or you use them to your advantage, and you focus on things you can fix. So let's talk about looks. Things you cannot control is how tall you are. As far as I know, there is no way you can all of a sudden become taller. Well, it is what it is. If you're a tall, a short guy, I've coached guys that are tall, I've coached guys that are short. Well, if some girls will not like guys that are too tall, some girls will not like guys that are too short. But your height is, it is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's totally useless to say, oh, I'm too short and that's why Daygame doesn't work for me. Well, what you're doing is you're probably looking at excuses. You're focusing on a thing you cannot control, because if instead you focused on things you can control, if instead you said, oh, I'm not taking good care of my looks, I'm not working on my game enough, I'm not going out enough and doing at least 25 sets a week, I'm not recording my sets, I'm not getting coaching, on all of those things you can control. If instead you focus on one thing that you cannot control, well, you are saying, I'm not responsible for it, it's Mother Nature, I'm too short, I cannot succeed in Daygame doesn't work for me. Well, as you understand, I think it's bullshit, and you're just avoiding responsibility. Maybe you should read Jocko Willink's book, Discipline Equals Freedom, about how you are responsible for everything that happens in your life. So height is something you shouldn't worry about, but let's talk about some looks, things that you can focus on and you should focus on. So grooming. Grooming is a big thing. I so for example, if something that has happened to me is happening to you, or if you're losing your hair, well, you should shave it off. You, as Mr. I think it was Mystery who said it to Neil Strauss. If you read the book The Game by Neil Strauss, then you know what I'm talking about. I think it was Mystery who said you cannot go bald, but you can be bald. So you have to take care of how you look. If you have a beard, make sure it's well taken care of. Make sure you find a good barber. If you have hair, make sure it's a good, stylish haircut. If your haircut and your grooming cannot be on the cover of a magazine, then you're doing something wrong with your grooming. You shouldn't just groom yourself. You should groom yourself really, really good, better than the rest of the guys around you. So grooming is important. Pay attention to that. If you're not doing that, then basically, if in these things I'm talking about, you find something you're not doing, then well, welcome to the real life. It's about learning what works in life, in reality, not about thinking what you want to work. And if you're not focusing on your grooming, then you should. Next thing is fitness. If you have a beer belly and in general are out of shape, well, fix it. I don't see a reason not to fix it. Obviously, if you have a beer belly and you're saying, "Oh, I can't day game because I have a beer belly. I first have to become fit." Well, again, you're lying to yourself, and of course, you have to day game, you have to go out, you have to talk to girls, but at the same time, you can fix your fitness. And something that I do, well, as many of you don't know, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but let me explain why I chose that as a hobby. I had evenings where I didn't have anything to do. Like I didn't have dates, and I just was staying in some of the evenings. And when I did that, I was usually eating junk food. I was not eating healthy, and I was watching Netflix and doing some stupid shit. So I thought, well, if I have some evenings free, and I know that I will usually choose to do something not very productive, like watch Netflix and eat unhealthy food, why don't I find an activity that instead of making me unhealthy would make me much healthier and would be beneficial to how I look and how I feel? And I don't like running, I don't like lifting weights, it's just really boring to me. So I decided I'll do a group activity, I'll join a class. And since I've always been interested in martial arts, and I did them when I was gonna 17 to 20, in that part of my life, I decided I'll get back into martial arts. So if you don't like running, if you don't like lifting, find another hobby, another physical activity that you like, that you enjoy doing. You don't have to run to lose weight. Instead, you can play volleyball, you can play tennis, you can do many other things. And maybe if you've been interested in martial arts, do martial arts. Have you been interested in rock climbing? Well, go and join a rock climbing club. um, so that's about fitness. Your style. Style is a really big thing. I remember I coached a student in Chicago. You probably listened. If you haven't, then it's an interesting podcast I did with a student I coached in Chicago. He's a guy who had spent almost $100,000 on strippers. And I was working with him in Chicago. And when we met, he was wearing jeans that were a few sizes too large. He had a really bad style, a really simple haircut, nothing special, baggy clothing, not baggy in a good way, but baggy in a bad way. And when we started working, he decided to work with Anna, with my stylist that you probably seen on my YouTube video, how to stop looking like a nice guy. And Anna did a lookbook for him, which means she had a Skype call with him. She spoke with him, looked at how he dresses, how he looks, and she created a lookbook. She created a PDF lookbook where she showed several looks he should go for, what types of jeans he should buy, what types of shirts, what types of hoodies, what types of jackets, shoes, accessories, everything. He went to the store and he completely changed his style. From looking like an average, boring American, he started looking like a fucking rock star. And it did a few things. Well, first of all, girls liked it better. All of a sudden, he looks like a cool guy instead of a nerdy guy. And the second thing it did, once you change your style in such a drastic way, and you go from looking like a boring dude to like an interesting, fun guy, well, if you're used to trying to blend in society, not expressing your controversial opinions too much, etc., and when you choose to go this route, when you choose to change your style and all of a sudden express yourself in a different way, it requires balls. It's a bold move. And when you decide to make such a bold move, it changes the way you behave, because, well, you did this scary thing, and it changes the way you interact with people, it changes the way you behave. And if people don't like it, that's their problem, but that was your choice to change the way you look. I remember when I decided to shave off my hair, several girls told me that I remember three girls telling me, if you shave your hair, I'll not sleep with you again. Well, all three of them slept with me after I shaved my hair, and a few of them had threesomes with me after I shaved my hair. So don't listen to what anyone else tells you if you're about to change your style or shave your hair, if you're losing it, or all of a sudden go from boring haircut to a stylish, cool haircut. Who cares if anyone doesn't like it? People like you, people want you to stay like everyone else, because if you all of a sudden start changing and doing interesting things and traveling more and being around beautiful girls, if people see that, they are reminded that they themselves are not doing those things. They're living their boring lives. They're not chasing their dreams. So don't worry about what they say. And another thing from Mother Nature, as we spoke before, is your age. You cannot change how old you are, but what comes with age is experiences. If you are 20, maybe you just recently graduated high school, you're in university, maybe you are in your first workplace, maybe you're running an online business. But the older you get, the more experiences you should have. You probably traveled, you've seen different places, you've done different things in your life. If you don't have those experiences, you should start collecting them. Or to be really direct, you should go and get a life. Start doing stuff. A simple thing you can do to see how many experiences you have is you can do an exercise I've spoken before in some podcasts a while back. You can open a note on your computer and you can in a vertical list write alphabet. A in the next line, B in the next line, C, D, etc. So, and what you do is on each of those letters, you think of a story from your life. For example, letter A, I might think about Andalusia. It's a region in Spain because a few years ago I was there on a business trip and my girlfriend was with me and we went swimming in the ocean. I was carrying my girlfriend on my shoulders and walking in the ocean. A big wave hit us. I fell down with the knee on a rock, and as I did that, I felt that it wasn't only a rock that my knee hit, but there was a sea urchin on that rock, and that was a disaster of a story of me not being able to walk for a few days. It was really, really painful and crazy. Letter B. Berlin. I used to live in Berlin when I was around 20, when I was studying in a BA School of Business and Finance. I was there on an Erasmus exchange. Letter C, carbonara. It's one of my favorite dishes when I want to cook, and when I want to cook not just to eat, but when I want to cook to relax, to do something nice for myself, or maybe it's something I might cook on a date, etc., etc. So write down the alphabet and see how many stories you can come up with. That's a great way to look at it. Also, the more experienced you are, especially if you have more experience with girls, then it's obvious that if you've been around, that you are a bit more picky. And there are ways how I show on a date in a very calibrated way that I've been around, I've seen things, and I'm not looking to sleep with everyone that go on a date with them. I'm interested in sleeping with girls that I really like, that I have a great connection with, and that I would enjoy the evening with, regardless whether we have sex or not. So that's also something that comes with age. And the last thing about Mother Nature is experience with girls so far. And the idea is very simple. If you don't have that much experience, maybe you've only slept with a few girls, or maybe you're a virgin, or maybe you used to be really, really good at seducing girls when you were younger, but now you've had a dry spell for a few years, or maybe you just got divorced and it's hard for you to get back in the playing field. Well, the secret is act as if you had abundance, act as if you had other options. Act as if you had all of that experience. And it's kind of the mentality of fake it till you make it. And it's okay to use that mentality when you're learning and when you are just trying to understand what attitude gets you laid. And once you start acting like that, in a calibrated way, not being a dick, but in a nice calibrated way, you'll see that girls respond very well to that. And here I'm not talking about some guys say, oh yeah, she's not too hot, I'm not gonna sleep with the girl like that, she's not interesting enough. And if a guy who doesn't have much sexual experience says that, well, I'm not really listening to him when he says that. I think if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the notch count, you shouldn't walk around and tell your wings, oh yeah, she wasn't too hot, I don't care about her levels, just sleep with hot girls. Well, if you can sleep with really hot girls, congratulations. But if you can't get at least one or two girls every month from Daygame, Well, this is a really reality check. I don't. It's not important how you want the world to look. It's important to see what's the reality of the world in the world. And if the reality of the world is that you don't know how to sleep with hot girls, then well, lower your bar a little bit and learn to understand how the world works. Learn to understand how to improve your sexual market value and get laid more. Okay, that's it about the part about Mother Nature. The second group of components that your sexual market value consists of is lifestyle. And in lifestyle, we have things like money, we have things like status, and the third is what I like to call Bilzerian factor. And let's start with money. So a lot of guys think, well, if I have more money, I'll get laid more. Money is what gets you laid. Uh, is money important to get you laid? Well, it might be in some cases. Let's put it like that. If you don't have enough money to take a girl even on a cheap date for a cup of tea, which some day gamers do because they don't have good jobs yet, or they haven't built their businesses yet, they're really young and they can't really afford it, can't afford to take a girl on a proper, like, for some wine or for some beer. Well, yeah, well, you should kind of make, you should think about it and you should make more money. But as long as you have enough money to take a girl for a few beers or for a few glasses of wine, you're good to go. You don't need any more money to get laid. That being said, of course, it helps for some guys, and it is one of the ways you can get laid. There are girls who will go more for that, but at the same time, I've met many girls who have been hanging out with guys because they have money, they bring them to nice places, they take them on adventures, maybe on some trips, but at the same time, those girls are not sleeping with those guys, and girls that have told me those stories have called me middle of the day and just asked, hey, how are you? What are you doing? I'm so bored. No, 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 I don't have anything to do. And at that point I was visiting my grandparents. And I don't get what this girl wants. And this girl just says, hey, like I really want to meet you. I just would like to give you a blowjob. Can you go home? Can we meet in 30 minutes? I don't even want to fuck. I just want to give you a blowjob. And the same girl that hangs out with other guys just because they take her places, they give her gifts, she's calling me and asking whether she can come over, give me a blowjob, and leave. And that's exactly what happened. I went home, she came over, gave me a blowjob, we chatted a bit, and she left. Well, on which side do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy that buys her shit and takes her places, or do you want to be the guy that gets a nice blowjob or sees her just because you both enjoy spending time with each other? Maybe it's not just sex. Maybe you like to spend with each other outside sex as well. That's fine with me. Um, but again, yes, money and having a nice lifestyle, it just makes you happier. It just makes maybe you, it just gives you more life experiences. So yes, if you have more life experiences, you're a more interesting dude, then sure, you'll get laid more because you have that great vibe, that happiness vibe. Uh, yeah, all of this being said, you obviously have to be aware of gold diggers. There are girls who will look for guys that they can get stuff from. And can you sleep with those girls without buying them shit? Well, first of all, in most cases, if guys say, oh, she was a gold digger, all she wanted was money, she just wanted me to take her for dinners, blah blah blah. Well, in most cases, when I hear those stories, I hear the full story, and I understand that almost always the problem wasn't the way the guy behaved, and the girl didn't even put him in a provider box. The guy himself the guy put himself in the provider, nice guy, I'll take you places, I'll help you, I'll be your whatever box. Guys do that themselves. So most times when guys complain about this, I don't see the guilty one being the girl. I often see guys made mistakes in the way they were communicating with girls. Again, but there will be some gold diggers. And can you sleep with them if they're really, really, really after gold, if they have frame, if they know what they're after? Well, just as you know what you are after, they also know what you're after. Maybe they're after gold, but maybe they're also after a good fuck with a bad boy. But maybe not. And if they're not, chance of you sleeping with them is very low. And of course, remember, girls say and do different things. Girl will never say, yeah, well, I want a guy to take care of me, but if I meet a nice cool guy, I'll fuck him without any money. Girl will never say that. But most of the time, if you're the guy with the right attitude and you know how to talk to girls, most of the times they will still sleep with you. Not always, but yeah. So don't put all the girls in one box and just say, oh yeah, she was a gold digger. Probably that wasn't the biggest problem. Well, you have your goals. For example, sex. She has her goals. For example, gold. Just as she is very unlikely to get gold from you, you are also very unlikely to get sex from her if that isn't something she's looking for. Good gold diggers, just as good sugar babies, have a good frame. They know what they're after. I've dated girls that are sugar babies. I was simply sleeping with them, but there were other guys who were taking them places, buying them expensive stuff, flying them to tropical locations in the first class, etc., etc. Having money and spending it on girls, though, are two very different things. Having money is good. It means you're successful in life and probably a good dude, unless you're making money, traveling non-stop, working a crazy corporate gig where you have zero time for yourself and you're just unhappy. If you made money running an interesting business, building something, helping the world, bringing some value to the world, you're probably a pretty cool dude. And that's nice. That adds to your that adds to your sexual market value. Spending money on girls doesn't add to your sexual market value in most places, in most times. In most times, it makes you a mark. It makes girls know that, oh, I can get stuff from this guy. So you have to ask yourself, is she spending time with you for the money you have, or is she spending time for you because she wants to spend time with you? So don't spend money on girls unless you've been sleeping with them for a while and they're important to you and you've seen they're crazy, they're up for interesting stuff, they know what you do is all for fun. I've spent money on girls I'm dating for longer time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But make sure she's spending the time with you for yourself and not for your money. Don't try to use your money to get laid, and don't make an excuse to not day game just because you don't have money. I've uh, I've consulted some very young guys that don't have any money at all, and I've given them options how they can take girls on a date for €5, and it works. And the second thing about lifestyle is status. Status, yes, status can get you laid. If you are in a community, or not in a community, but you will, in every community you are in, you have your status in that hierarchy. You are maybe on the bottom, maybe you're the top guy, maybe you're in the middle, maybe no one really knows where you are and you're this mystery guy. Whether that's in a club culture, whether that's in rave culture, maybe in the BDSM scene, maybe that's in work, maybe it's in some hobbies you have, whatever community you're hanging uh, out at, you have your status there. Maybe it's business and you travel for conferences and it's pretty clear what's your social status in those conferences as well. I don't rely that much on my status and on any communities to get laid. It can work if you are on the top of the food chain in an industry. in a community. If you do try to get laid, of course you'll be more successful. That's quite obvious because you are the top guy and girls like that, so that will help you. And the third factor from lifestyle is what I like to call Bilzerian factor. You know, the Bilzerian, the Instagram guy, who on Instagram lived this crazy lifestyle, partying on boats, girls all around him, and just having this great lifestyle, going places, doing stuff, and it looks nice. Does living a lifestyle like that, does showing that you go places, that you travel, that you go on adventures, does that stuff get you laid? Not directly, but pretty much yes, it does help, definitely. When I post something on Instagram, I am thinking about also how does that make me look in the sexual market value. That's, well, I live my life traveling around the world for more than a year now. And you can see that. You can see that my Instagram has pictures from all over the place. It has pictures from Riga, where I was originally from. It has pictures from Prague, from Budapest, from Belgrade, Serbia, from Romania, from New York City, from Chicago, Toronto, all over the place. I just posted a picture from Malta, which is a small island under Italy. I just posted a picture from Malta today because that's where I am right now. You can see that I go places, that I travel places. If you haven't seen my Instagram, then when you sign up for the mailing list on my website, you'll get several links of things where I post stuff, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, etc., etc. So if you are on the mailing list, and in the welcome email, you should have gotten an email, a link to my Instagram, and you can see stuff that I post there. And yes, I go places, I go on adventures, so it does help you get laid. And for example, I've gotten laid. I've definitely gotten laid from the BDSM stuff I post on my Facebook, on my Instagram, because there are some BDSM and bondage pictures, and I've had new followers after I post them. Girls, I hit them up, and they really like the bondage stuff and the BDSM stuff. They wanted to try something out. Well, I met with them, and they I tried things out with them. So it definitely helps, and this nice lifestyle definitely helps you get laid. Is it a thing to focus on? Is it the most important thing? Well, that's questionable. But if you are traveling places, if you're collecting experiences, which, as we spoke before, is something you should do. Even if you are in your mid-20s, you should collect experiences, you should live a life, you should think, what are the things I really want to do in my life, and you should go pursue them. You should enjoy life and kind of, I don't know, live fast or live fast or die slow. Just figure out what you want and go do those things. And if you can at the same time learn to take good photos that look good on your Instagram, why not use that to your advantage, and maybe in a year get a few lays from Instagram without following random girls and sending them DMs? No, like, if you have that lifestyle, and I have random girls follow me on Instagram once in a while, and sometimes it ends with lays with beautiful chicks, sometimes single, sometimes married, and it's all over the place. So that's all I wanted to tell about lifestyle, about money, status, and Bilzerian factor. Now let's move to the third group of components that your sexual market value consists of. It's the things you can learn. And let's start with number one. I didn't know how to call it, and I just called it cheekiness. Being that guy that chats with girls. Obviously, you are not doing it like, let's say you go to a party and you chat with people, you're teasing girls. Obviously, it's not something everyone can see. No one can actually see when you're doing that. To everyone else, it seems like you're just talking to a girl, and maybe you know her, maybe you're just chatting about something. Well, actually, when you are chatting with her, it starts as normal chat, then you tease her. Well, just as in a day game set, you tease, you challenge, you make her qualify, and you see how she reacts. You tease her a few times, you realize she reacts really well, you can feel that she likes it, you can feel the attraction building. Well, what do you do next? Now you understand you have to isolate her. You have to be in a place where you can talk with her. So maybe if it's a party, you go to another room, or you go out to smoke, or whatever. You're isolating her to chat with her, build a little bit of comfort, and you're spiking. You say a thing like, well, I thought you're just cute, but now I see you're actually interesting. That's interesting. That's fun. That's pretty cool. And you said, oh, I just thought you're cute. Turns out you are interesting. So you made it obvious what it is that you're doing, that you're flirting with her. As soon as you spike, she knows, oh my God, it seemed that this isn't friendly. It seemed that he likes me. He really does. This is cool. Now she knows what's going on. If she reacts well, you build rapport, and maybe you try pulling her home to sleep with her, or maybe you take her number to meet her another time. Be that guy that chats up girls wherever you go. You go on a conference, chat up a girl. You go to a birthday party, chat with girls. Learn that, which brings us to the second factor of things you can learn, which is good game. Obviously, it's an extremely broad topic, and being cheeky and having frame, etc., are all parts of good game. So whatever you can put under good game, those all are things you can learn, and those all are skills you should work on. Again, good game means game that works, game that's proven to work, not game that some group of guys online think should work, but they are not going out, they're not talking to 25 or more girls a week, and they have their ideas, but they cannot prove it with a proven track record, and not just only track record for themselves, but also track record for other guys that are trying their methods, their approach to game. By the way, that reminds me of a nice little topic that I want to at least touch a little bit. It's doing 25 sets a week. Some guys say, oh, I'll just do my 25 sets. I don't want to go out and do day game sessions. I just want to go on day game wherever I go. Which is something that a lot of guys say, but if I ask them how many girls do you chat up during a week, if it's less than 25, then again, you have proven that your approach doesn't work. If you chat up girls walking around doing your everyday stuff and it's less than 25, then well, chances of you learning good game skills are extremely low. And you should again stop focusing on things that you wish were true. For example, your ability to chat up 25 girls just walking around the city doing your stuff, what you had to do anyways, like grocery shopping, going to the library, whatever. But instead focus on things that are proven to work. Okay, that's a little kind of side thing, off topic thing. Next thing that you can learn is you can learn to have good frame. What does it mean to have good frame? It means to know what you want, to lead, to escalate, to use push-pull. So you know what you want, and you are letting her know what you want. Obviously not direct, you're letting her know that under the radar. Maybe you were teasing, maybe you made a spike, like I said before. Oh, I thought you were just cute, but it turns out you're actually interesting as well. You're making a move, and why you should always make a move. When you make a move, when you make that spike, she finally knows, oh my God, he likes me, he's going for it. He isn't going to be another boring guy that puts himself in the friend zone. And now she knows the rules of the game, and she can choose to play it or not. If she doesn't play the game, you still know what you want, and you still keep going for what you want. You're still doing that. You're still trying to chat with her. You see how she reacts, but keep your frame. Remember what it is that you want, not what it is that she wants. Maybe she wants new expensive shoes from you, and that's not what you're after. You're after a nice blowjob from her, or sex with her. If she doesn't like what you offer, she can leave at any time. But you are focusing on what you want. It's your game. But of course, don't be a dick. Don't be direct. Don't just say, I don't want to talk about this nonsense. I just want to fuck you, you bitch, blah blah blah. Don't be rude. Don't say things like that to girls. It's all under the radar. It's all subtle. It's all with love. Guys who know how to treat girls the right way get the girls to follow, because those guys are calibrated and they know how to fractionate, they know how to push, they know how to pull. And if she really isn't following, if you tried pushing her away and then again pulling, if nothing works, well, leave. Don't waste any time on her. It's gonna be harder if you're a beginner, if you're learning day game and seduction in general. But the better you get at this, the more girls will like to follow you, because you will learn what actually works. You will learn how girls actually like to be treated, and boom, they'll follow you, and you'll get more success with them. And again, the next thing you can learn is calibration. Calibration is a very important thing. So you are at a party, you chatted with a girl, you teased, you isolated her, you spiked, but you clearly see it's not working. Let her go. By letting her go, you are kind of pushing her away, you are ignoring her a little bit. You go to another girl, you chat to someone else. 30 minutes later, you come back to the first girl and you see how things have changed. You chat a bit again, you spike again. This is the pulling back part. When you went and spoke to another girl, you push her away. Then when you give her attention again 30 minutes later, you're pulling her, you're seeing how that works. And if that doesn't work, well, you don't talk to her anymore, and then don't waste your time. So this was the third thing, the third group of components your SMB consists of, things you can learn. So now let's talk about what to do with those things and what you should focus on. It's important to understand that maybe you are really strong in some parts of sexual market value and lack in others. And it's important to understand that just having one part oftentimes will not be enough, and it's actually quite dangerous. Uh, Things that can happen, well, maybe you're a 20-year-old young guy with an online business and a baller lifestyle, but if you aren't cheeky, if you don't have the cheekiness part and you don't know what to do with girls, you will most likely not get laid, even though you're traveling the world, living from city to city, beautiful places. But if if you have zero cheekiness, it's very unlikely that you'll get great success with girls. At the same time, if you have everything, maybe you have looks, you have lifestyle, you have money, you have game, but you don't know how the world actually works, you don't know how the dating actually works in the world, some smart girl probably, and let's say you're 25, some smart girl probably in her early 20s who knows how to look hot as fuck and how to be an amazing girlfriend, she will snatch you up. And you'll be a young, hot dude with money, lifestyle, charisma, everything, but you'll be married. And what happens 10 years later when she is, instead of early 30s, she's early 40s? You're 35, she's early 40s. Guys look amazing in early 30s, in mid 30s. Girls at early 40s, very few of them look like hot 20-year-olds. What happens even 10 years later? Maybe you were 45. She's in her early 50s. A guy that knows how to take care of himself will very likely be still good looking at 45, probably with even more money, better lifestyle. Well, maybe not. It depends on what life decisions you make building your family. But you're probably still a really good looking dude with even more money, better lifestyle, with interesting life story. But you're married with someone who's over 50 and not that good looking at all. And at the same time, there is some young guy with worse looks, less money, simpler lifestyle, but he's also an interesting dude, has interesting experiences, but he has better game, better understanding. Not game in a bad way, but better understanding how the dating world works. He will be dating a 22-year-old hottie, a hottie that knows how to look amazing, but she's also a great girlfriend. She's interesting as a person, she's smart, very fuckable. This guy learned how the world works. He did all the stuff he has to do, and now Maybe he's also 45, but he's seeing this girl in early 20s. And if you hear yourself or your friends saying, yeah, well, if I'm 45, what am I going to talk about with a 22-year-old girl? Well, I'm 33, and the last girls I've been dating have been 19, 22, 20, around that age. And I think if you don't have anything in common, nothing, you don't have anything to talk about with a 22-year-old girl, I think the problem isn't in her communication skills. The problem very often will lie in your communication skills. So a lot of 22-year-old girls are actually quite interesting. They have interesting views on the world, and they're interested in doing interesting stuff in life, building businesses, and having interesting careers. They are at a stage in their lives where all the doors are open, and I think they're really interesting to hang out. So you can choose which side you want to be on. If you want to be the guy who's 35, 45, and has a girl that's over 50, but she knew how to snatch the good guy, the high value guy up while he was young, but maybe naive. Or you can be the guy who knows how the world works, and you can be dating some of the most amazing, the smartest, educated, and fun 22-year-olds. So it's your decision, and let's talk what you need to work on depending on where you are in your evolution as a man, as a seducer, as a day gamer. So should you take care of your looks first, or should you learn how to take control of your dating life, overcome fear, chat up and seduce beautiful girls, learn game, or should you build a lifestyle? Well, if your looks are shit, absolutely terrible, like you have shit style, you are not taking care of your grooming, let's just put it like that. If your style isn't amazing and your grooming isn't amazing and you're not fit, you should fix those things. You should go and get a good haircut, get everything fixed that can be fixed, improve your style. If you want me to put you in touch with my stylist, Anna, who has worked with many of my students, she creates amazing lookbooks and helps you change your style. If you want me to put you in touch with her, send me an email to robert@strobert.blog. I'll do that. Fix your style. But at the same time, learn game, learn to overcome your fears, learn to chat with at least 25 beautiful, interesting girls every week, and learn how to interact with girls. You have to learn that. If you're saying, oh, I first have to fix my looks before I learn game, you're missing the point here. Looks are important, but at the same time, you have to learn game. Fixing your looks will only take a day or two. It's going to a barber shop, a good barber shop. It's going shopping, and that's it. Uh, Learning game will take longer. Learning game will take you at least a few months, maybe even more, maybe a year. The only thing I can tell you about the game, when you're learning game, if you are not getting laid regularly after 6 months of learning day game, get a coach. I worked with many guys, and most guys that, let me think, uh, I've seen almost no guys that have struggled for more than 6 months and then all of a sudden learned game and became good on their own. Most guys that learned game on their own succeeded really fast. Like it took them a few months to start getting laid regularly. So if you were struggling for more than a few months, maximum 6 months, just get in touch with me. Either get infield coaching or get some Skype coaching calls to figure out where you should start, what you should start with. It will just help you learn much faster. If you are financially trying to decide should you get a Skype coaching call or buy new shoes to improve your style, then if it's a financial decision, then spend that money on a Skype coaching call instead of new shoes, because if it's either that or either one or the other, then a Skype coaching call and improving your game will be much more important than the way you look, the way you dress, the way you take care of yourself. I've worked with guys who have a pretty shitty style and didn't want to change their style, and when improving their game, they still were getting laid a lot. If you have fixed your style and you are working out and you are learning game in the right way, meaning you're doing enough sets, you're either recording your sets and learning from them and you're getting better and better, or if you've been doing this for more than 6 months and you've gotten in touch with me and you're getting Skype coaching, if you've fixed all these things, then it's maybe time to look at your lifestyle as well. Yes, the learn things are the most important. Start there, of course. But why not go on a day game trip? Why not build those experiences? Why not collect interesting life stories, interesting life experiences while you are learning game? Is it the best way to learn game by traveling the world? Probably not. It's harder to learn day game in some cities, it's easier in other cities, and going from city to city to city to day game, it might not be the best way to learn game, but it's a great way to build experiences and you'll still improve your game. So why not do that? If you are from the USA, why not go on a trip to Europe? There are places in Europe where you can go from US even with all the COVID restrictions. Or if you are in Europe, why not go to an amazing day game city if you are already here? Why not go to a place like London, to a place like Prague? Maybe you want to go to Kiev if it's not locked down. Maybe you want to go on a day game trip with me. Why not do it? Or why not go to South America if you're from Europe? Well, if you're from USA, then going to South America. I think all Americans go to South America. So do something more exotic, go to Europe. Or if you're in Europe, well, maybe go to Balkans. Balkans are a crazy place for day game. The hotness of girls there is just incredible. So you can actually learn game and build lifestyle at the same time. You can collect adventures, collect stories, and you can become this character of most interesting man in the world. And if you want to say that you can't travel right now because everything is locked down and it's COVID, then I just want to tell you, don't be a sheep, because I'm traveling. Many of my friends are traveling. Find a place you can go to and book a fucking flight. There are many places you can go to. Maybe don't book flight 3 months in advance. You will have to book pretty much last minute, like maybe a week or 2 weeks before going. If you're going to a different continent, then maybe a week or two. But if you're going, if you're from Europe and you're going to a different place in Europe, then just book a flight a few days in advance and that's it. I'm traveling, a lot of my friends are traveling, so just do it. It's much cheaper now. There are less day gamers traveling. Life is still out there. People are still in the streets. London streets are still crazy busy. I'm in Malta right now, where you have to wear a mask outside on a street at in plus 25 degrees. There are still beautiful girls walking down the street. Life is still out there. Don't be a sheep. Live your life. Don't make excuses to don't go on trips. That's actually why I travel. I ask myself a simple question: what do I want to do next? Where do I want to go? What adventures do I want to have? What crazy kinky stuff I want to do next? And I just ask myself that question. And whatever the answer is, I try to do that. I try to go to those destinations. I wanted to go to Kiev. I announced Kiev. Well, obstacles came in the way, and I'm not going to Kiev, but instead of that, I'm going to south of France. So the question is, if you are already learning day game, if you've done at least 100, maybe 200 sets, then well, what's your day game destination? Or if you haven't day game that much, then sign up for some coaching and let's go somewhere together, and I'll push you in those sets and you'll have no excuses not to do them. You'll do at least 25. I'll try to make you do at least 25, at least 20 sets every fucking day. Well, so it's up to you now to look at your journey as a man, as a day gamer, and think, where are you? Should you start with fixing your style, or should you work on your game the most? Should you really commit? and pull the trigger and really become more serious about the game and have crazy 6 months or a year or 2 months where you're day gaming a lot, where you're meeting beautiful girls, where you're going on crazy adventures, sleeping with hot girls, having same day lays, maybe having a threesome here or there. It's your job. It's your job as a man to take responsibility of your life, to take control of your dating life and commit and to do that. Or maybe if you've been doing that, maybe it's time to book a flight and go on a trip. The question is, what do you want to do next? What's your next adventure? And if you decide you want my help in your next adventure, maybe you want me to push you or to help you with your game, then get in touch with me by sending me an email to robert@strobert.blog, or simply go to my website strobert.blog and click on the top menu on the Daygame Coaching and read everything about Daygame Coaching, fill a form there, and we will find a place we can go to and have some adventures together. But if you decide it's not the time for you right now, but you still want to support this podcast, you can do that on Patreon. And well, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you liked this podcast, please give this podcast a thumbs up if you're listening to this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, then please leave this podcast a 5-star review. That simply helps me reach more guys, and it helps me help more guys to take control of their dating life, overcome fear, and start really dating the girls they actually like. And if you know a wing who should hear this, then send this to a wing. That's it for today. Thank you guys for listening, and goodbye.